A major East Tennessee highway remains shut down in both directions 9 hours after troopers say a blown tire on a church bus led to a chain reaction crash along I-40.
An extremely horrific event.
The wreck involving a bus, an SUV, and a semi killed 8 people. Rescuers rushed 14 other victims to the hospital. 2 helicopters and close to 24 ambulances raced to what one veteran first responder called a chaotic scene.
The flame, 2 shoots of smoke, black smoke, go up in the air, and then they came together. They started out separate, and they came together almost instantly.
By nightfall, prayer vigils focused on a church in North Carolina. It was their bus, loaded with 18 people, authorities say crossed the median and crashed into oncoming traffic. One Tennessee trooper says he hasn't seen anything like that wreck in his 17 years on the job. Good evening and thank you for watching. I'm John Becker.
And I'm Robin Wilhoit. Tonight, we are learning more about cleanup efforts along the interstate, the victims involved in that crash, and how that church community is coping. But first, we want to head to Interstate 40.
10 News reporter Mary Scott live from the crash site. Mary, could be a while before that scene opens.
Yeah, that's right, Robin and John, but they have made some progress. Cleanup is underway here on the closed Interstate 40. 9 hours since 8 people lost their lives and 14 were injured right here behind me. Now, you can maybe make out what is the Front Street Baptist Church van. It is that mangled pile of mess right there on top of the tow truck. They have just moved that onto there in the last 10 minutes or so. They have also removed the Tahoe, the third vehicle involved. Now, officials held a press conference this afternoon to fill us in on what happened.
It's a crash scene that takes your breath away, even for veteran emergency officials.
In my 17 years, probably the most serious incident that I've ever been a part of.
I've been with Jefferson County for the last 21 years, and it's been the largest scale accident that we've dealt with since I've been here.
The tire of a church bus carrying 18 seniors back home from a retreat in Gatlinburg blew out, causing the driver to lose control and cross the median to hit a Tahoe SUV. A tractor trailer then struck the bus and caught on fire.
At the scene, it has been confirmed that there are at least 8 individuals who are now deceased due to this crash. We hope and pray that there'll be no more.
Helicopters and ambulances took 14 others to the hospital.
First ambulances and fire apparatus were on the scene within less than 5 minutes.
We have not made family notifications yet. So we know that there are family members across this country possibly who are extremely worried and on pins and needles as any of us would be. So let's please put ourselves in their shoes.
Now Tennessee Highway Patrol is trying to determine why it happened.
There's just a million and one things that we just don't know yet about the tire, what caused it to blow.
They estimate it could take all night to reopen Interstate 40.
It's just one of these incidents that we can't rush it. If you rush it, you possibly lose critical evidence that you need.
It's something these officials haven't had time to process yet, but they're asking for your help while they do.
Just keep them in your prayers as we will be helping them deal with this as well.
Again, Interstate 40 east and westbound are closed right now until they get the wreckage cleaned up. They haven't given us any kind of timeline, but they are making some progress tonight. We're going to keep you updated. There's a press conference tomorrow at 8 a.m. For now, we'll send it back to you, Robin.
An extremely long day and night. Mary, thanks so much. And as chaotic as that scene was earlier today, we are learning a few more details about the crash. That stretch of I-40 does have a guardrail and safety wires, but only on the westbound side. That wasn't enough to stop the bus.
Here's a closer look at how authorities say this crash unfolded. That church bus was headed eastbound back home to North Carolina in these lanes when it blew a tire and crossed the center median. That's when it ran into the SUV and then into this tractor trailer. You can still see the smoke here. After that, the bus turned on its side and ended up skidding to a stop on the wrong side of I-40.
Well, emergency crews from several agencies helped in today's rescue efforts. Lifestar helicopters flew at least 4 patients to the hospital today. Ambulances took the other 10 victims to UT Medical Center. And that is where we join 10 News reporter Steve Butera. Steve, several of these patients suffered very serious injuries.
Indeed, Robin and John, but we are getting an update tonight on those injuries, and it looks like some of them are improving at this hour. We'll get to that in just a moment here. We have been seeing some of the families from the local side that are now entering at UT Medical Center earlier during the day today, speaking with the Red Cross and trying to get some more information about their loved ones currently resting tonight at UT Medical Center. Let's get you up to speed on the conditions of those 14 people injured, taken here earlier this afternoon. What we have, at least according to the last half hour, is that 2 of those 14 are listed in critical condition. 7 are in serious, 5 are in stable, so some of those people are indeed improving at this late hour. And as we mentioned, 4 of those 14 were flown via UT Lifestar earlier this afternoon. Let's just take you back at least to when everything kind of occurred, at least over the last couple of hours here. Right now, we are not able to get information onto the types of injuries that these people suffered earlier today. We are still waiting for that information. As soon as we get names, we're able to kind of put 2 and 2 together. Meanwhile, it's been a hectic afternoon for so many people, both inside the hospital and with the American Red Cross, as we mentioned, who are helping out these patients and their loved ones during this very difficult time.
There's a lot of activity going on. It's in the evening when you have a generally busier emergency department anyway, but certainly our emergency and trauma center is pretty busy right now.
We're waiting for members to come out from North Carolina, so we're here all night until they come, and then we'll take it from there and make plans for the day after. The day after, we're here for the community and for those members of the family, and until they don't need us anymore.
Now, Robin and John, I want to tell you something about East Tennessee that I love here is that people from around the area will help out these families during this time of need. In the last 15 minutes, I spoke with a woman from Kingston who drove from Kingston to Turkey Creek, picked up food over at Texas Roadhouse, picked up pizza at Papa John's, and brought it here to UT Medical Center and wanted to give them to the family. So if that just tells you the kind of East Tennessee spirit that we have here, helping each other during this time, I don't know what does. Meantime, if you think that you may have a loved one that may have been involved in this crash, the Red Cross would like to get in touch with you to see possibly if you can get in touch with them. Phone number to them is at area 865-305-5716. Of course, that number is available at WBIR.com. For now, that is the latest at UT Medical Center. Robin and John, back to you.
Steve Butera, thank you. As those first responders raced to save the victims, witnesses were trying to grasp what they had seen and heard unfold along that highway.
We turn now to 10 News reporter Heidi Wigdahl at the scene of the crash for more on the witnesses and an East Tennessee memorial for the victims. Heidi?
Robin and John, I've been on the scene for about 8 hours now. The public has not been allowed down here. However, about less than half a mile away from here on an overpass, witnesses did go up on there and were watching the events unfold from that overpass. They told me they could hear the crash and see the smoke, and actually the smoke continued to come out of that tractor trailer until about 7 p.m. Neighbors say this is the worst crash that they've seen. Here's what one witness had to say earlier today.
Probably in the last 6 months, there's been quite a number of 18-wheeler accidents in this area, and for some reason, I don't know. But there's been several that had fatalities right here at the 424 exit.
And also, John and Robin, a prayer service took place earlier tonight at First Baptist Church of Dandridge. That's where we found out from Associate Pastor Corey Hammett that a Knoxville family was involved in that crash. Hammett says the family was in the SUV traveling back from a fishing trip. All of the people in the SUV include a father and mother, as well as a son. The father confirmed to the pastor that his son did die in that crash. Him and his wife rested at the church while waiting to get picked up by loved ones. Here's what Pastor Hammett recalled about his conversation with the father.
Yeah, he said his son was a believer in Jesus Christ, and the father was very comforted because he knew that at the moment of his son's death, that his son was spending eternity with Christ, and he had a peace about him because of that.
The SUV was removed from the scene about an hour ago, and also the pastor of First Baptist Church of Dandridge was at the scene earlier, counseling a lot of those families who have been affected by this crash. We are going to be staying at the scene until I-40 clears up in both directions, and we'll make sure to keep you updated both at WBIR.com as well as the morning shows. Back to you.
A lot of broken hearts. All right, Heidi, thanks so much. And we move on now to the tragedy of one North Carolina church community.
18 people from the Front Street Baptist Church in Statesville, North Carolina, were on their way home after a convention in Gatlinburg. The group was part of the 17th annual Fall Jubilee, a three-day event that ended on Wednesday. Pastor Rick Cruz told Charlotte television station WBTV that the congregation was saddened by the news when they heard it, and that they appreciate all the prayers that they've been given and received. Pastor Cruz told the station the victims in the crash were a senior group of church members called Young at Heart. And again, that day that was supposed to end in celebration with the homecoming of those members to Front Street Baptist has become a night to mourn their deep loss. Friends in faith they met here in East Tennessee are passing on their condolences. Part of the reaction includes this statement: "Our thoughts are with our friends at Front Street Baptist Church in their tragic loss." Pastor Johnny Hunt, the congregation at First Baptist Church Woodstock, and all the Jubilee team, we have you in our prayers. Reverend Johnny Hunt helped lead the convention and passed along his prayers, saying in his words, "My heart could not be sadder at the death of senior adults in the bus wreck on I-40 leaving Jubilee in Gatlinburg. I was just with them."
Now to recap, investigators say a blown tire set off a chain reaction. The church bus swerved across the median into the westbound lanes of I-40. The bus hit an SUV, a tractor trailer carrying paper products as well. 8 people died. Another 14 are in the hospital being treated for injuries. Now, we have learned late this evening several of the victims' conditions have improved. 2 people are now in critical condition. 7 others are in serious condition. The interstate is still shut down in both directions at this hour, and again, that is at mile marker 422. For an alternate route, eastbound drivers should take Interstate 81 to I-26, then back on to I-40. Westbound drivers should have to take exit 424 to State Route 113, then to State Route 341. We have complete coverage at WBIR.com. You can hear more from witnesses on the scene and how the Red Cross and others are giving a hand.
More news, weather, and sports after the break.
Straight from the heart of East Tennessee, this is 10 News Night Beat.
We are counting the hours, almost 48 hours into the government shutdown, and still little progress has been made. Today, President Obama met with congressional leaders in Washington, but both sides say they're no closer to an agreement.
Steve Handelsman has the latest now from Washington.
Congressional leaders headed to the White House for the first talks since the shutdown. I'm Steve Handelsman, NBC News, Washington.
And NBC News analysts say it appears more likely that the shutdown will last 2 weeks and combine with an even bigger fight over the debt ceiling.
What a news day it has been. We're going to take a break from the headlines, get to meteorologist Todd Howell to talk about something that has been nice. The weather.
Yeah, we need some good news.
We certainly do.
Yeah, we've definitely had a nice week so far. Then a little bit of a cooling trend, more seasonal temperatures, dry weather Tuesday and Wednesday of next week, John Rob.
A little more like fall. Yes, Todd, thanks.
That's right.
5 weeks into the college football season, it's time to talk some hoops. We'll hear from a big man looking to make a comeback after this. Courtney's back with us to talk a little bit about Georgia.
Another big opponent coming in for Tennessee, another ranked opponent. They already have 2 SEC wins. Well, when UGA comes to town on Saturday, there will be a few former Dogs in orange. Not long before basketball season will be here.
No, and during the break, this Will Hoyt's going to show us how to kick.
Yeah, I taught James Will Hoyt all he knows, right? Not. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
Just to recap our top story that has remained so throughout the day. About 2 o'clock this afternoon, a blown tire on a church bus set off a chain reaction crash that ended up killing 8 people and sending 14 to the hospital.
That's right. We know right now 2 of them are in critical condition at UT Medical Center. 7 of them are in serious condition. The interstate remains closed. No word on when it will reopen. Of course, we will have the very latest on this story online and on 10 News today.
We appreciate you watching and hope you have a good rest of your evening.